Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Ted Gardner, and I'm here with the Library of Congress Oral History Project at our Public Library of Cincinnati, which handles this project very wonderfully. Dennis Daly is our historian, our videographer, our man of intense research, and we're having the pleasure and the joy of meeting and talking with Art Capano today. And Art, where were you born?
In Cincinnati.
Okay, what part of town?
Avondale.
Avondale,
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. And where did you go to elementary school?
Taft. I went to Taft. I went to St. I can't think of the name, St. Anne, I think it was.
Very good, very good. And then high school?
I went to trade school.
You went to trade school?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I took up tailoring.
Oh, I'll be darned. Oh, sure, I know the name in the tailoring business.
Well, now, I'm the only one with, well, of course, my brother worked there too.
Yeah.
But we never had nothing
I see.
big about it.
Well, you know, everybody has a story to tell, and we want to hear about it. Tell us about your family.
Well, my dad, my mother passed away, but my brothers, I got two brothers, they passed away.
Wow.
And two sisters, three sisters have passed away.
Hmm.
So they're just me and my one sister left.
My goodness. Well, that was a nice large family too.
Yeah.
I should say.
Had,
growing up with brothers and sisters.
Right.
That's really great. Now in the trade school, tell us about your trade school.
Well, I learned how to make clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Where was that anyway?
it was on Sycamore Street.
Okay.
And well, I just wanted to learn all about it because, well, my brother was in a tailoring business, and you know, I thought, well, that's what I want too. But after a while, I didn't. But then I taught tailoring at a school for about 2 years.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
In to high schoolers or?
No, it was a special IT&T.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, New York.
Sure. Well, that's very interesting. And in those days, that was a very, very important thing. You were in the Depression days,
Yeah.
and things were tight, and I understand that. We both grew up in that period.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't play football for ITT or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
I played a lot of softball, but no
Great,
football.
great. Now, you know, everybody has certain dates in their lives that they remember very well, and everybody remembers where he or she was on December the 7th, 1941. Where were you, and how did you get the word?
I was home, and I heard it on the radio.
Heard it on the radio.
Yeah.
That was so typical, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Long before TV. Well, then, so what? How did it affect you? Were you in the draft or what?
Yes, I was in a draft.
Okay.
In fact, I was working at the time, and the time that I was supposed to be examined, I didn't know it because I never got no papers.
Uh-huh.
So I got a call from where I was working, and they says, you know, how come you're not down here? I said, well, I didn't know I was supposed to be. So they said, well, you better get down here right away. So I did, and when I got down there, I took my clothes off, you know, and they took and wrote "Rush" across my chest. And they put me in the front of all the lines till I caught up with my group.
Oh, for God's sakes.
But then I was sent to Fort Thomas.
Fort Thomas.
Yeah, and I could have stayed there really because they wanted me to work on uniforms.
Oh, sure.
You know? And I thought, no, I didn't want to do that. So
where did you get your basic training?
Fort Bragg.
Fort Bragg. Wow, North Carolina.
Yeah.
That was a new kind of an experience for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was kind of rough.
Sure, sure.
I enjoyed it.
And travel in those days was by train.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put you in a troop train?
Well, no, not necessarily. When I come home one time, but I come home on a regular passenger
Regular,
train.
yeah, right, right. Now, after Fort Bragg, what then happened?
Well, then we assembled there, stayed there a while, and that's from there we went to Virginia. I can't think of the name of the place. But anyhow, we left from there and went overseas.
Okay.
We went to Africa.
You went to North Africa?
Yeah.
Wow.
But there was nothing going on there. I mean, we just landed there, I guess, to regroup or whatever.
I see. Now, that would be when, 1943?
42.
42.
42.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah, we went into North Africa. North Africa campaign started in the fall of 42.
Yeah.
And so you were there right at that time.
I wasn't there very long, no.
Yeah, right.
Then we went from there. We made the invasion of Sicily.
Sicily, wow.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, Art.
Well, when we first got into near the place, I mean, of course we had airplanes coming at us and there was stuff like that. But when we first got on shore, there wasn't a whole lot of fighting, but I didn't have too much because I was in headquarters company, and I seen a lot of dead Italian soldiers and that,
Sure.
you know. But
Sure.
we didn't stay there. And then from there, we went to Salerno, Italy.
Now, did you actually come in contact with the enemy?
At one time, I mean, we had, well, in fact, I had to help fire our mortars because we were starting to retreat because they were coming after us, see. Well, we didn't go anyplace, but one of the cooks got a 5-gallon gas tank, you know, a can.
Sure.
And then
Jerry
had a
Vance.
pan of matches. He says, if they come here, I'm going
Oh, boy.
He was going to set the place on
Oh,
fire.
my gosh.
But
Now, was this an artillery unit?
no, it was a mortar outfit. It was, you know, they're small.
Oh, yeah.
And you drop them in.
Yep.
But no, it was, they had a range of about 3 miles.
Sure.
And
So
so
you
we
were
were always
supporting-
pretty close, you know.
You were supporting the infantry then?
Right.
Right, right. And what was the unit number what?
Chemical warfare service, 2nd chemical warfare service.
Chemical warfare. That's very, very interesting. Did you have other duties besides mortar man?
Well, loading ammunition and stuff like that on trucks, you know, to bring up to the front lines. But
Did they ever find out that you were a tailor, a uniform man?
no, I didn't tell
You
them that.
didn't divulge that.
I'll tell you, me and a buddy of mine, one time, we needed haircuts. So we cut each other's hair, and then we start cutting other guys' hair. We didn't know nothing about it.
All of a sudden, you're a barber.
Yeah. But
Oh, that's great.
no, I mean, you know, it
Sure.
was
Well-
bad and was good. I mean,
Yeah. Well, now you said you weren't in Sicily very long, but then
No.
you went from there to Salerno.
to Italy, yeah, Salerno.
Tell us about that Salerno.
Well, now that's where we start getting into it, you
Yeah.
know. And from there, we just went up the coast and to different places in Anzio and Casino and stuff like that. And, you know, it took a while to go,
Oh,
but
yeah.
we were heading up towards Rome.
Mhm.
So we got to Rome about the same time they made the invasion of Normandy.
Oh, about the 6th of
Yeah,
June.
and that's as far as we went, though. And then we stayed there a while, and then we went to France.
Ah, I see. Now, Salerno, those of us who've read about it realize what a really tough, it was almost a stalemate there for a while,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, almost all the way up the coast, really, it was kind of slow.
Were you aware of the fact that maybe we didn't really understand how tough the Germans were
Right,
there?
you know, well, and they were pretty tough because,
Yeah.
like I say, but no, we didn't think, we thought, well, you know, just gonna be it.
Sure, oh, yeah.
But no, it was kind of rough. At spots we'd hit, we'd have to stay there a while because we couldn't move anymore.
Oh, yeah. Terrible. Did you ever see General Mark Clark?
Yep.
You did?
And I saw, what's his name with the guns?
Oh, Patton.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He had his pearl-handled guns.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, I seen about, I guess about 4 different,
Top generals.
yeah,
That's very interesting because those are people that we all have read about in history
Right.
and so forth, you know.
Right.
And then, so Patton was under Clark, wasn't he?
yeah.
Clark was the top man
yeah.
in Italy.
And he, well, I've seen him a couple times.
Right. Yeah. Now, tell us about the movement of equipment, for example, the guns and the material.
Well, the guns weren't that hard to move because, you know, they were small.
Right.
And we just hook them on the back of the trucks as we moved up, you know.
Right.
But
Right. And you were a doughboy, a dogfoot.
yeah,
My golly. Well, we just so thankful to you and congratulate you. And you're a survivor. That's
yeah, that's
one.
the main thing.
Did you see did you lose any of your buddies there?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that
In
was-
fact, one time we were at a train station and they had this underground thing where you go from one track to the next. Well, we were sleeping and all of a sudden we heard these planes. So we got up, we start running down underneath this track, and me and my buddy, we always stayed together, and he was right in back of me, and he got shot in the leg from the plane.
Oh, my goodness.
So he just, you know, but he was all right, he wasn't that bad. They took him away,
Sure.
but he returned to the company, but
But you didn't get scratched?
nope,
Oh.
I was lucky.
Good Lord was watching over you.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? That is just amazing. By this time, were you a corporal or a sergeant or?
No, I just stayed.
Okay. But, you know, getting back to your duties and so forth, the mortar man, of course, how about, you know, I've always thought about, how about your hearing? Was your hearing ever affected by the blasts?
Well, I guess it was. I could take my hearing aids now, but it didn't bother me that much.
Okay.
But they are kind of loud. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
like I say though, I wasn't too much with them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't bother me that much.
Well, now, after Salerno, of course, you were moving up the
the
boot
road,
of Italy
up the
very
coast, yeah.
slowly.
Yeah.
Tell us about Casino, Monte Casino.
Well, we were stuck there. I mean, that was a rough time.
That was terrible.
That was really a bad place. And we didn't know whether we was going to get by there or not because we was losing a lot of men. We weren't, but I mean, you know, the infantry and that.
Right.
And they had a rough time getting by that. And finally they did break loose. But
Yeah.
it was about the toughest spot.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Wehrmacht had that high position.
Yeah.
And of course, that's what.
Well, and then they had these underground places, and they had like, I forget what they call them, you know, they were sticking up out cement things that they could see out. But then they go down, you go down underground, and they had hallways and rooms down there. We went down there, you know,
like it.
when we passed there. But
Oh, goodness
it,
sakes.
I've seen a lot, I mean,
Yes, I should say you have.
yeah.
Any particular story come to mind about that particular period when you were at Casino?
Well, no. At one time, I can't remember exactly where it was, but well, it was near the shore because they called us for a special duty. They wanted us to do burying some soldiers. Well, the company that actually does that were still on the ship. So a bunch of us were set
You were
up.
recruited to do that.
Yeah. And when they told us what we had to do, this one guy, he just passed out right away because we had to bury these people. And, you pick up a leg over here and an arm over here, and half of their heads were gone and stuff like that. I mean, it was just a horrible sight.
Horrible.
But,
Yeah.
so,
The German opposition, still at that time in 43, they were still very, very, very
Right.
strong.
right.
And the tide hadn't turned
Right.
yet. I understand that. Eventually, you sort of broke out, did you, before you got to Rome?
Yeah. After we got past
Casino.
we was pretty
Yeah.
good then.
Yeah.
I mean, we moved along pretty good.
That's right.
And then we went to Naples and then Rome. And
Now, did you have to march a lot, or did
No.
you get pretty good
no, we mostly
transportation?
rode trucks.
Yeah, right. 6x6s and so forth, huh?
But
All
yeah.
those big things, yeah. Well, now, okay, so after, then you got into Rome. You got
Yeah,
into the.
we stayed there a while. Yeah, we
stayed in
stayed there a
Rome?
while. Yeah, in fact, we had a priest in our outfit.
And a name like yours, my gosh, they should have welcomed
Well,
you.
I could talk. There was times that I had to do a little interpretate.
Good for you.
Yeah, but I didn't know all the words, but I got along. And we had a priest in our outfit, and this doctor, he was a dentist. They were going to go have an audience with the Pope,
Oh, yeah.
So they took me and my buddy along,
How
And
wonderful.
so they had all the officers up front, and they had all the rest of the guys in the back. And he was up like on a stage. So this priest came back and he got us and brought us up front, all the officers. And so we got to shake the Pope's hand and all
Wasn't that
Yeah.
nice? Yeah.
So that was a good experience.
Oh,
right
my
there.
goodness, something
Yeah.
I should say. Well, you're very blessed to.
So I've seen a lot of that, that was good.
Did you get around the city to
Yeah.
the different sites?
Yeah, we were
and so-
there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got to see pretty much of
Got
it.
to see the Colosseum and all
Yeah,
that sort
yeah.
of thing.
We
St.
went
Peter's.
inside
and-
the Coliseum.
Yeah, Spanish Steps and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
Well, you were very blessed to have that opportunity.
Right.
And to be to be
Right.
sound and not
With
wounded
that,
and
no,
so
yeah.
forth. So you said you were there in Rome for a while, what, a couple of months? Or?
Oh, I'd say a couple of months, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then I guess they were getting ready because we were going to make the invasion in France.
Yeah. So we're talking about April and May of 44.
Right.
Right, okay. Because we're coming up, another
Yeah.
month, shortly in a month, it'll be good gravy. It'll be the 65th anniversary of the D-Day in Normandy.
Yeah, yeah.
Just imagine. Oh my goodness, doesn't seem possible, does it? How the time has flown. All right, so now you're ready. Then were you transported from Rome to France?
Right. We had a group in our outfit that went in on gliders.
You did?
Yeah. But I didn't.
You
But
didn't.
I mean, some of our companies went in on gliders
Sure.
before we got there.
Part of that big
And they landed
invasion.
in back of the enemy.
Behind the lines.
Yeah. So then by the time we got there, we was was pretty well taken
How were you transported to France?
by boat.
By boat?
Yeah.
So you went around,
We went from Sicily by boat to Italy, and from Italy to France by boat.
and that would be southern France? Or
Yeah,
did you go
right,
all the way, you didn't go all the way
southern
around?
France. Well, then I was in Paris,
Yeah.
but there was not too much fighting then in there, and we was working our way to Germany.
Sure, sure. Well, now, did you get to see the city of Paris pretty well, too?
Very little, yeah.
Very
I got in there, but
Yeah.
I didn't see too much of it. We weren't
Yeah.
there that long.
When you got the word about transferring, did they tell you where you were going?
No.
No, all of that was very secret.
Just where they
very
went,
well.
where they said, "Come on,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
go."
Our Our lips are sealed.
Yeah.
Remember that sign, loose lips sink ships?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was very, very typical,
Yeah.
very,
Well,
I
just
should
like our
say,
letters we'd write. They read them all before we sent them.
censored,
Yeah.
it said on the outside of the envelope.
Yeah.
And, you know, there were people involved there that were sworn to secrecy too. You weren't allowed to tell.
Well, we couldn't tell them where we was
No.
at any time, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So,
Any particular incident comes to mind about that?
no, we just went along with it.
Sure.
But then we just worked our way through France.
Now, after Paris, then you kept on going
Yeah,
across.
there wasn't too much going on in,
Not too much
France.
at that time. By that time, of course, and then coming up, you know, Eastern France. Now, were you involved that winter? Were you spending the winter of '44 in France, like the Hurtgen Forest or Bastogne, the
No,
Battle
I
of the
don't-
Bulge?
I
Anything?
don't remember too much in the what towns. I wrote a lot of stuff. I got my canteen
Oh,
cup,
good.
and I put a lot of stuff on that.
Good
just
for
to
you.
remember where I was at certain
Sure.
time.
Well, you know, that's very important, and we find a lot of people didn't do that.
Yeah.
And sometimes this is the first opportunity they've really talked about their experiences. And it's so important because, you know, we're losing our World War II veterans very
Yeah,
rapidly.
I imagine there's not too many
So
left.
many of them who didn't tell their stories, and they're gone forever, you
Yeah,
know, which is very, very sad,
But-
especially to historians. Well, now, Art, there you are in Eastern France. Where did you go through? Strasbourg, that direction? North,
Well, we went up. I don't remember what part of
Where did you cross the Elbe and the Rhine?
the
And,
Rhine,
okay.
and then we worked our way around in there.
Tell us about the river crossing.
That wasn't too bad. It was well, of course, they had, you know, the engineers had the thing to
Pontoon
drive
bridges?
across. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
because they pretty well destroyed. We destroyed most all the bridges, hadn't we,
yeah,
across
yeah,
the rivers?
yeah.
Yeah. Did you see any of that destruction? Any-
Yeah, I've seen a lot of destruction. I mean, I didn't see it happen, but I did see a lot of
Right,
destruction.
right.
And the only thing I seen, like really, it was like a few times airplanes, and
Yes.
they had jets then.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
They had jets before we did.
yeah, and we had one guy in our outfit. We used to call him Radar because he could hear them before we see them. But yeah, I come close that way a couple times.
Yeah, that's right. Did you happen to ever see the movie Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
Now, could you relate to any of that movie yourself? The destruction of the town and,
Well, I've seen destructions
Yeah.
of towns, you know.
well, you weren't involved in
no,
house-to-house fighting?
no,
Yeah,
no. That was infantry.
yeah, right.
I mean,
How about the chow? Tell us about,
the chow,
yeah,
well, it was all right. You open up a little box and you had
Yeah.
all that stuff in there, but other than that, we couldn't eat regular food. You know, I mean, we wasn't any place where we could eat. Well, in Rome, when we stayed there a while, they fixed the stuff, but
right.
other than that, we never ate too much.
You were on the move, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was difficult. That was difficult.
Yeah, we were moving pretty good. I mean, we didn't stay too long in one place.
How about the weather? Tell us about the weather in different seasons.
Well, the weather was cold. Wow. And I mean, it was cold. But it snowed and that. But I remember some places where we couldn't go in buildings, and you'd take and wish some snow off the floor, off the ground, and put your little pup tent up, and then get in there with your blankets.
Wow.
And sometimes it would rain, and the rain would come underneath
Oh,
it.
yeah. Yeah, those were unforgettable times. As you moved across eastern France, and then you said you crossed the Rhine River, and after you got across the Rhine, you were in Germany by that time.
Right.
Tell us about going into Germany.
And really, that is where they had the Maginot Line, they called it. And that's where they had these cement things with the
the dragon's teeth and so forth.
Stuff underground, you know, where they lived.
Sure.
But we got through that pretty good. I mean, it took a little while, but we got through that pretty good.
Yeah, those were real tank traps, weren't they? They really slowed down.
Yeah. But see, by that time, things were starting to slow down a little bit, you know.
So now we're talking, say, into 1945, and as you said, you got through the winter, crossed the Rhine, and the old Maginot Line, and that had been there a long time.
Yeah.
You know, that was one of the first things they constructed.
Yeah, it had to be because it was just like an apartment
Sure.
building down there, you know, with the bedrooms and everything.
Did you get up against German tanks like the Panzers and so forth?
No, we didn't. Well, see, one thing with being in headquarters, we were in back of our guns, really.
Right.
So I wasn't in too much of that.
I
You know,
understand.
I didn't
But
see
you
too
were
much.
performing such important duties. That was an important thing, because you could fire your mortars up and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? Now, did you become a rifleman?
No.
You didn't have to do that. I'll be darned. So you didn't carry a BAR or
We carried I
Garand?
forget what they were, but it was a rifle.
Yeah.
But I never used it, you know.
Never used. Well, you didn't have to tear it apart and blindfold, put it back together again.
No, that was done before we got there.
Okay. Now you're working your way across into Germany, and you must have had some interesting experiences.
Well, we've seen a lot of destruction there, and of course we got seen a lot of their planes come around.
Sure.
And I remember one time we was up on a hill, and you could look down the valley, and all of a sudden we seen this German plane come by, and we were just level with him.
No kidding.
And I guess he didn't see us, but you could see the pilot and everything.
Isn't that
And
something?
they were going someplace, I guess,
Yeah.
to bomb. But that's the closest I come to it.
Now, was that in one of the jets?
No,
No, that was the regular fighter.
yeah,
Well, of course, they had those very, very, very tough airplanes, boy,
Yeah.
the Stukas and the
they
Messerschmitts
had
and
some
so
good
forth.
equipment, yeah.
Yeah. We, of course, now by that time, let's see, early 45, by that time we had really kind of turned the,
Right. We've run into a few German prisoners, you know, where we captured a few German
Prisoners of war.
prisoners. They give up, really.
Yeah.
You know, they were starting to give up then
Right,
because they knew
right.
they didn't have a chance anymore. So
did you see any of that late war German personnel situation where they drafted old men and
we seen a
'Cause they
lot
were
of
running.
young kids. in
yeah,
there.
kids.
Yeah. But
Gosh. Yeah, poor Germany. It was a terrible.
yeah, they I guess after a while they took whatever they could get.
Yeah, that's right. They were scraping the bottom of the barrel,
Yeah.
I should say.
But
Well, now, how far into Germany did you get?
well, we went through Germany to Austria.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, of course, there was no fighting going on there. We weren't allowed in, see, I can't
Did you
remember
get to Vienna,
what's that country?
Switzerland?
Switzerland.
Well, they're
See,
neutral.
nobody was allowed in
Yeah,
there.
they were neutral.
But I was up the borderline, you know. We were
So
close
you
to
could look
that.
over into Switzerland, yeah.
But a lot of that was just about done then. Everything
Yeah.
was when we got into Austria and stuff.
Did
like
you get into Vienna?
No,
Didn't get
no,
to
we just got in, not just too far in, and we come across a camp where they had gliders. The Germans had these gliders, and I guess they must have practiced there
Mm-hmm.
because some of the guys got together and they put one together, and it was on a hill, and there was an engine down at the bottom that they used to pull them with and take off, you know.
How
So
we
these
done?
guys started doing that. One guy went right into a tree,
Oh my gosh.
but
Sounds like a little recreation.
yeah,
there.
we were starting to have a little fun then because most of the stuff was over then.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness, you
And then
know.
we was just going backwards, but
Yeah.
we wasn't doing any fighting then.
Well, you know, you bring up a point there about the Yanks, the Americans, and in general, the wonderful attitude of the Americans and sense of humor
Yeah.
and
Right.
camaraderie and companionship and so forth, which of course I understand is true with all armies, but something special about the Americans.
Right.
Did you have an opportunity to mingle with the German people?
Yeah.
Citizens?
Yeah.
Tell us about
Yeah.
some of that.
We weren't really supposed to,
Yeah.
but we talked to them and, you know,
Sure.
stuff like that. In fact, there was one little kid, I guess he must have been around 9 or 10, something like that. He was an orphan. I guess he lost his parents and that. And we took him in our outfit. We we fixed him up with a little uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to take him around with us wherever we went until we couldn't anymore.
Yeah.
And then we had to put him in a home. But
Oh.
he was a good kid, you know. we
Yeah.
Just,
Well, I'll bet he loved you guys.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, experiences like that are unforgettable. They're indelibly etched on your memory, and you experienced it. That's the important thing. And you're telling your story so well, and we appreciate that. You're going to enjoy it, I think. When you see it on the DVD, you'll say, "Oh, did I do all that?" Anyway, so there you were in just barely into Austria. How long were you in that area?
Oh, I'd say maybe a couple of months.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
and then
good.
we start heading back.
Did you got a chance to do some sightseeing? Did you?
Yeah, a little bit. No, I mean, nothing.
Did you get into the Alps?
No,
Didn't get into the mountains.
but we just more or less stayed in camp
Right.
in those kind of places.
Right.
The only place really I got to get around was Rome and Naples. Those two were we had a lot of time
Wonderful.
to get around
Wonderful.
and see
Wonderful.
things.
Yeah. Well, we haven't talked about Naples. Tell us about Naples.
Well, it was just it
Big
wasn't
city.
as fancy as Rome and that,
But it's right on the
it was
ocean.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a nice place. In fact, that's where my mother came from.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Were you able to look up any family?
No, I couldn't. There was nobody that I knew there.
Uh-huh.
But I was going to go over where my dad came from. It was on the other coast, but we didn't get there. This guy was going to fly over there, and I was going to go with him, but then he didn't go, so
Yeah.
I couldn't get over there. Now I had family over there. I knew.
Over on the Adriatic,
Yeah, yeah.
on the other.
But,
I'll be darned. I'll be darned. What town does your dad come from? You remember?
Foggia, it's called.
Foggia. Yeah. Oh, that was a big air base for the Germans.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I remember that.
But,
Well, very, very, and I'm sure you found the Italian people very
oh
warm
yeah,
and welcoming.
yeah. When they heard I was Italian, but they all say, "Did you come from Chicago?" Well, everybody comes from Chicago.
They must have had a lot of relatives that came to
Yeah.
Chicago. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I've heard, and I never got in the European theater. I was always in the
Yeah.
Pacific, but and I wanted to, but I always heard that in general, the Americans were warmly welcomed.
Yes, we were.
And even by the Germans eventually. you
Yeah,
know.
like I say, when we was in Germany, I mean, we made friends with a lot of people there.
Sure. Same way with the Germans. So many of their people immigrated to this country.
Right.
Right.
They were nice. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just that Mr. Hitler was the one that was
Yeah.
the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we worry about what's going on over there today too. You know, there's a lot of stuff to worry about. I'm afraid that, well, I'm not going to politicize. Nevertheless, I'm interested in your travel now. You say they took you by ship from
Africa-
Rome.
Well, from,
Huh?
oh, you're talking about from Rome.
From Rome, yeah, I'm going back a little bit. Now, did you go into southern France?
Yeah, we went into
Marseille?
Marseille.
Yeah.
Or what's the other one?
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Of course, Marseille was the big southern city, right?
Yeah, but
on
this was more or less a, oh,
part of the Riviera.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And we went
Well,
in
Monte
there.
Carlo, Cannes, Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now, there in southern France, did you get with any of the people that lived there?
Yeah. Yeah, we stayed there a little bit in around
Uh-huh.
Nice. In fact, we was there a while. And me and a couple of guys got a hotel room and was staying. We didn't.
Hey, listen, that's not too bad. You were touristas.
Yeah. So and we'd go into town a lot and
Yeah.
go into their bars and stuff.
Well, and you know, that was important, a part of your education.
Yeah.
Do some sightseeing, rubbernecking, and
Well, as I say, I seen a lot that
Oh,
I
my
would have
goodness.
never seen.
tell us about more of those things that you saw, the sights, and anything like that comes to mind?
No, the only thing really I remember a lot about is Rome. But in Nice, of course, I said, you know, at that time there was nothing going on there other than just
Right. It had been bypassed.
visiting bars and stuff like that. And but other than that, those kind of places we stayed a while. But then the rest of it was just bomb buildings and stuff
Yeah.
like that you've seen on
Lots
the
of
way.
destruction. Terrible, terrible, terrible.
And one thing I will say though, on the way back, we're going through Germany, they were starting to rebuild their stuff. And that was really the only country that was doing that right
Yeah.
away.
Well, and with our help,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, we're the most compassionate nation in history, you know. We fight a war, have to fight a war and defeat our enemy, and then we help them rebuild. I mean, nobody else has ever done that. I had something in mind I wanted to ask you there. Anyway, the ship that you came around from Italy on, was it a big transport?
It
or
was a
LST?
LST, yeah.
Yeah, a landing ship.
Yeah.
Okay, now that must have been an experience.
Yeah.
Flat bottom, I know about
Where the front drops down.
LSTs, yeah. Very rough.
Yeah.
Oh my golly, did you get seasick?
Yes, I did.
I'm not surprised. Everybody did. Even Navy guys got seasick on those bloody things.
We practiced when we was in Virginia, you know.
Sure, practice the landing, waiting
Yeah.
in the water.
Yeah, and I remember one time got sick and I was leaning over the side throwing up. They said, "You better watch out, you'll fall over." I said, "I don't care."
Oh boy, you got to a point where you just didn't care. It was so awful.
The way I felt.
I should say. Well, you know, an interesting thing is, we talk about June the 6th, 1944, the landings in Normandy on the Normandy beaches. The same day, you know what else happened? It was the liberation of Rome.
Yeah.
Same
yeah,
day.
That's the day we went in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, so many people don't realize that.
Yeah.
And here was this great historical event of the liberation of Rome, but it was overshadowed by
Right.
the Normandy landings because that was the big deal. But
Yeah. Yeah, we went in. We didn't have too much trouble going in there. I mean,
I'm
you
not
know,
surprised.
but
yeah. Things
well,
were-
we were really greeted well.
Oh,
I'll tell
the
you.
Italians were anxious for you guys to get there. Sure. Yeah, they talk about how warmly they welcomed the Yanks into the city.
We got a lot of kisses in that.
And kisses, hugs.
Yeah.
Italians are lovers, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's great. And about the same period of time was the invasion of southern France.
Yeah. Well, not the
Southern France. Wasn't that about the same time?
I don't think.
Maybe a little.
Well, because see, we were already past that.
Yeah.
Or no, we weren't past that. That's right. No, I'm thinking something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you notice or not, but downstairs in the atrium of our wonderful library here, we have a great display of World War II memorabilia, and you should take a look at it when you get a chance. There's a great display of the cruiser USS Cincinnati, and they have things from that ship that are down there. And the USS Cincinnati got her battle flag and her battle star in the invasion of southern France.
Yeah.
Later, a little bit later in 1944. It happened after.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Or no, yeah. Anyway, so you got seasick on the LST. Oh my gosh.
I mean, of course, I wasn't alone, but.
Oh no, but what a horrible
And then
experience.
when you get off of those things, after that front drops, you get off, you just sink down in the water. You don't know how deep it is or anything.
Sure. And you had all that equipment, that held you down.
Oh,
Heavy. But you slogged your way through that water
yeah, we got,
up onto the
and then
shore.
we climbed that.
Well, my goodness, those experiences are never to be forgotten.
I won't never forget 'em.
All right,
There's a few things I'm losing that, but
all right, now you're in southern France. And how did you work your way?
we left, we went to, you mean up after we,
Yeah.
after we made,
After you made your landing
landed
there?
in France? I can't remember the towns, but that's when we was making our way towards Germany. But
Yeah.
It was,
So you worked your way up, did you work your way up the Rhone River, the big French river?
no, we worked up, we was around, like I said, Paris, and that,
Yeah.
and we start heading towards Germany from
Yeah.
there.
I just wondered how you got to Paris.
Well, from Rome,
That was from Rome.
yeah.
After
And then
the LST.
We landed in Nice,
Yeah.
and then we worked our way up that way.
Oh, I see. Now, did you walk most of that way, or
No.
you were able to ride?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
See, because truthfully, a lot of the fighting had been taken care
Yeah,
of
I
before
understand that.
we got there. Now, our troops, our companies,
They'd gone ahead.
they were closer to
Yeah.
the things than we were.
Well, you were lucky to be in the headquarters
Right,
company.
right.
That was great.
But,
Did you have any clerical duties? Did you have to
Now,
write reports?
Like I said, most of it was like taking care of ammunition and that.
Right.
In fact, one time, there was a group that was loading a truck, and one of the things, shells went off.
Oh, boy.
And, but other than that, that's about it. I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't have too much taking care of equipment
Right,
and making,
right.
when we get ready to leave or something like that.
You didn't experience anything like friendly fire or anything like that,
No.
did you? No.
No.
That's, All right. The, uh, we talked about chow. How about your clothing, your equipment? Was it adequate? Did you,
Well, yeah,
pretty good boots?
We had that, but of course we didn't wash them too often.
No.
I mean, every chance we get, just like clean and shaving and that. You used to use your helmet for a sink,
Absolutely.
And
You bet.
stuff
bet.
like that. But
Yeah.
no, we didn't get change of clothes too much.
Yeah.
But we had enough to keep us warm,
Oh, shoot. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
Because you, fortunately, you didn't have to suffer that terrible winter
right.
in Bastogne and
We
Yeah,
get snow once in a while and
Ardennes,
something
yeah.
like that, but
well, there was a great soldier historian by the name of Bill Malden.
yeah,
Remember Bill Malden?
yeah,
His wonderful cartoons,
yeah,
his two famous characters, Willie and Joe.
yeah.
And I'm sure you experienced people like that, didn't you? Didn't you know people
Sort
like
of,
that?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
rough.
mean, we used to get the papers all the time.
Oh,
and
sure,
read
the
them.
Yank.
Yeah.
Stars and
yeah,
Stripes.
We had people like that. I
Sure,
mean,
sure.
we were comedians and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, experiences like that where people say, "Oh, you must have had a terrible time." No,
It sort of
I-
helped you along,
it was a great experience. I
Yeah.
wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was looking in my library the other day, and I found a book by Bill Malden that had all of his cartoons in it
Yeah.
and his funny stories.
Yeah.
He was a wonderful writer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now, Art, as the war was winding down, you were in Austria by this
Right.
time. And that's where you got the word,
No, well,
May
we
of
started working
45.
our way down before we got the word. I'll tell you where I was in France. I forget what the name of the town was, but that's when we heard the war had ended.
okay, that was May of 45,
Yeah.
VE Day.
And that was a big
Yeah,
celebration.
big celebration. Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful experience. Yes, and you thank the Lord for your safety and the fact
Yeah.
that you'd made it.
Sure do.
And sadness about your buddies who were lost. And
Yeah.
well, I want to bring up to you and everybody who was here on Veterans Day, the 11th of November every year. We have a great, great, great program in the atrium of the library here. I hope somebody will bring you down, you and your brother, and so forth, because that is a great experience.
That's right.
And it's one of they'll get 400 people in the atrium of the library, and it's very important that the veterans get to see that, because they honor the library is a memorial to the veterans of Hamilton County. I didn't know if you knew that or not, but that's important to know as well. So anyway, I hope to see you there on the
I'll try.
11th of November.
I'll try. I've been having a rough time.
Oh, yeah.
See, I've
it's-
had a couple heart
Yeah.
operations, but
Well, there are a number of, there are a number of places around the community that have ceremonies on Veterans Day, but to my way of thinking, this is the best one, and it's very dignified and very, very, they always have a speaker, a veteran speaker, and so forth. So anyway, okay, so now you're in Austria, and you know the war's over. Then what happened?
well, then we start working our way back to go home.
Yeah. And did you go back, where'd you go
We
back to?
went back to southern France, and we left from
Well,
there.
you came back to southern France,
Yeah.
you didn't go to Brittany or Le Havre or
No,
Cherbourg. I see. Okay, so back to southern
And
France.
that's where we left. to come
Then
home.
you got on a transport. Tell us about that ship.
Oh, that was nice. It was a lot better than that.
Big one.
Yeah, but the only thing is, one time we hit a storm,
Yeah.
and that ship was going like this.
Oh.
And you could almost reach the water when and it was, it was high.
Yeah.
But other than that, well, I got sick on that coming home. And we go run down to the mess hall, get some food, and run back up and eat it on deck. But
Yeah. Gosh.
But it took us 11 days to get home.
So you came around southern Spain and past Gibraltar and through the gates of Hercules into the Atlantic, huh?
Right,
Okay, and it took you 11 days.
yeah,
That was quite extensive.
yeah.
And what port did you enter?
New
In
York.
the United States, New York.
Yeah, we seen the Statue of Liberty when we got in, and all the ships that were out in the water were blowing their horns and everything. When
boy.
I mean, it really felt good.
Oh, isn't that great?
Yeah.
Did you march up Fifth Avenue?
No, we just got on a train, and we didn't stay in New York long.
You wanted to get home.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
All right, now, what was it, about 3 days to get home from New York?
No, it was quicker than that.
Oh,
Well, let's
good.
see. Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the trains were. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then you came into Union Terminal, Cincinnati.
Right.
And your family was there?
No, because I got in at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they were all in bed yet.
They weren't about to get up for you, huh?
So I didn't want to get home too early, so I went into the barber shop there at the terminal, got a shave and everything,
I'll
and
be darned.
then cleaned up, and then I went home.
Isn't there a man downtown that had a barber shop by the name of Capano?
No,
No? Okay.
Martinelli, I think there was one.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I know there's a guy over in the atrium with an Italian name who has a shop there in the atrium. Well, anyway, so you got into Union Terminal, and of course at that time, almost 24 hours a day, there was a large crowd of people.
Yeah,
Yeah. So what did you do? Get a cab to go downtown?
yeah.
Yeah.
Cab to go home.
And home was where?
Mount Auburn.
Mount Auburn,
Mm-hmm.
right up the hill. I'll be darned. Right up there near Christ Hospital?
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Well, it was on Burnett Avenue, if you know where Burnett Avenue is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Oh, sure, right near
And,
near the university.
My wife-to-be lived on Highland Avenue,
Oh,
so
sure.
I went to her house first.
Sweetheart, I'm home.
I woke her up.
Oh, my golly, isn't that wonderful? Oh,
So,
what a happy, happy
all
time.
right.
Now, how about your brother? I'm going to talk to him?
Oh, no, it's
Oh,
my
brother-in-law.
brother-in-law.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, you had enough points by that time to get out
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
they-
I got out right away.
right away?
Yeah.
Right away. And you didn't have any feelings about staying in the reserve or anything like
They
that?
asked me.
I'll bet they did.
They said, well, they asked me about if I wanted to rejoin. You know.
Sure.
No, forget it.
Re-up. Okay. Yeah, no, that was, it was an exciting time.
Yeah.
And boy, we were home, get back with your family, get married. Good for you. And now, what did you do for a way of living after did you get married right away?
Yeah, pretty soon.
Okay.
About after a few months.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Then what happened? I mean, you were working.
Then I went to work. Yeah. And I worked at the tailor shop again.
Then you were into the tailoring business. I
And,
see. And how long were you in tailing, Art?
oh, God, I don't know.
30 years?
No, not quite that long.
Okay.
Because I had different jobs after that.
Mm-hmm.
After I left that, well, I couldn't make too much money then.
Yeah.
You know, so I started going to different places. I worked at GE, I worked at Crosley, and
Oh, you
in
did?
different places. Yeah,
Did you work on airplanes?
I worked on jet engines.
You did?
Yeah,
Well, that's exciting. That's important.
yeah,
Yeah. Because, the Navy has big contracts with GE.
yeah.
You do such a wonderful job. And
The only thing with that is you'd work your way up, but then when they get done with the contract, then they get slow. They start laying people off,
yeah,
and then you go all the way down again.
yeah.
So,
Then you have to work back up again.
yeah, But
Did you do that several times?
I did it a couple times, yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
finally, I just couldn't
Yeah.
do it anymore. I got bumped all the way down to sweeping the floors.
Oh, gee.
So and then I got out and
Yeah.
went to start.
Now tell us about your peacetime family. You have children?
Yeah, I've got two.
Two
I've got
children.
a boy and a girl.
Are they here in
My
town?
boy's right over there. Over there.
Oh, there he is. That's right. Okay. And your daughter's here in town too?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah.
You have everybody right
And
here.
I got 6 grandkids.
Oh, I should say. Now, you still live in Mount Auburn?
No, no.
No.
No. I live in Groesbeck.
Groesbeck, Northwest. Yeah. Well, that's a great neighborhood out there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I belong to a veterans group that I live on the east side, but a lot of the fellows and ladies live out that direction. Anything else come to mind that you want people to know about?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah. God bless America and all
Yeah,
that good
that's
stuff.
true.
Yeah.
I just, the one thing this war's going on now over there, every time I hear of some American soldiers getting killed, it hurts me because I
it
feel,
does.
it bothers me.
Oh, of course, of course. Yes, well, and that's something that we all have to keep in mind. There's a big organization, it's an umbrella group, it's called the Wounded Warrior Program. And under that, they have different groups that they support, men and women who have lost a limb or something, in Afghanistan, Iraq, and so forth and so on. And we have to nurture them and support them.
Right.
Very, very important. And particularly you, Art, a compassionate man that you are, and having served yourself, you know what it's like.
That's right.
And that's so
That's
very
why
important.
I say that's why I feel that way
Yeah.
whenever I hear that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, God bless you and thank you for your service. It's been a great honor to meet you and have the chance to know about you. And we wish you well. And we're just about to run out of time here. But I know that everybody who sees this DVD of you is going to say, well, for gosh sakes, I didn't know that about him.
Where will this be seen?
Huh?
Where will it be seen?
Well, it'll be given to you.
Oh,
So
okay.
you'll have it.
Oh, I
And a
see.
copy is made that is kept here in the archives of the Public Library
I
of
see.
Cincinnati, and a copy is sent to the Library of Congress in Washington.
Oh, I see.
And you'll be online.
Oh,
Anybody in the world can tap in and see the story about Art Capano.
is that right?
So watch what you say.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
That's
this
you're welcome.
great honor to meet
I
you
was glad
and
to be
get
here.
together.